the open road, a symbol of freedom and adventure. But for some, it becomes a desolate highway into darkness. For the men and women who make their living hauling cargo across this vast country, loneliness is a constant companion. Tonight, we'll explore the dark side of those long, desolate stretches of highway. These are the true tales of truckers who encountered the unexplainable. Stories that will chill you to the bone and make you think twice about the shadows that lurk on the edge of the night. It was a desolate stretch of highway in Nevada, miles of blacktop unwinding under a starless sky. Our story begins on a cold December night with a seasoned trucker named Frank. Frank was known for his cool head and steady nerves, but tonight was different. Tonight, the silence of the desert was broken by an eerie sound, a low hum that seemed to vibrate up from the road itself. Trucker One as Frank. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white in the faint glow of the dashboard. The hair on the back of my neck prickled with a sudden chill. I could have sworn I saw a figure in the distance, a fleeting shadow against the darkness. I dismissed it as fatigue, a trick of the mind. But the humming grew louder, and the shadow reappeared. This time, there was no mistaking it. A figure stood in the middle of the road, shrouded in darkness. Frank slammed on the brakes, the truck groaning in protest. His heart pounded in his chest, each thump echoing the growing hum that now seemed to press in on him from all sides. Trucker One as Frank. The figure was closer now. I could make out the shape of a man, but something wasn't right. Something was off. The figure raised its head, and though I couldn't make out its features, I could feel its eyes burning into me. A wave of terror washed over me. I had never felt anything like it before. The figure suddenly darted, moving with unnatural speed towards the truck. Frank slammed his foot down on the accelerator, the truck roaring back to life. He didn't dare take his eyes off the road, but he could feel the presence of the figure beside him, keeping pace with the speeding truck. Miles flew by. The terrifying pursuit seemed to stretch on forever, and then as quickly as it began, it stopped. The figure vanished. The only sound was the roar of the engine and Frank's ragged breathing. Trucker One as Frank. I never slowed down. I didn't stop until I reached the lights of the next town. I never drove that stretch of highway again. Our next story takes place on a winding mountain road in Colorado. Rain lashed down, the wipers struggling to keep up. Behind the wheel was a young trucker named Sarah, making her first solo run. The CB crackled with static, the only other voice the distant murmur of a country music station. The rain was coming down in sheets now. Visibility was near zero. Trucker Two as Sarah. That's when I saw her, a lone figure, huddled by the side of the road. A young woman wearing a raincoat that offered little protection from the downpour. My heart filled with compassion. I pulled over. The young woman didn't hesitate. She opened the door and climbed into the truck, bringing with her the chill of the storm. She thanked me, her voice a soft whisper that was almost lost in the roar of the storm. She wouldn't say where she was going, only that she needed to get off this mountain. Sarah tried to make small talk, but the young woman remained silent, her eyes fixed on the road ahead. The rain intensified, the truck struggling to maintain its grip on the slick asphalt. Trucker Two as Sarah. I glanced at my passenger. I noticed something strange. The young woman's hands, resting on her lap, were deathly pale, almost translucent. As I watched, one of the fingers twitched, moving in a way that seemed unnatural, almost inhuman. Suddenly, the CB crackled to life. A voice, frantic and urgent, filled the cab. Witness one. Breaker, breaker. This is a warning to all truckers on Route 666. There's a woman hitchhiking. Don't pick her up. She's not what she seems. Sarah's blood ran cold. She looked over at her passenger, but the seat was empty. The young woman was gone, vanished without a trace. Chapter 3. The Rest Stop Apparition. Our final story takes us to a desolate rest stop on the outskirts of Texas, a place where truckers often stop for a break from the endless miles. It was late, the only light coming from the flickering neon sign and the dim glow of the vending machines.
Inside sat a weary trucker named Jack, nursing a cup of coffee that had long gone cold. The place was deserted, the silence broken only by the hum of the fluorescent lights overhead. I was about to head back out when I heard it, a faint scratching sound coming from the men's restroom. I cautiously approached, my hand hovering over the can of pepper spray I kept on my belt. I pushed open the door, the smell of stale urine and bleach assaulting my nostrils. The scratching continued, coming from the last stall. I peered in, my heart pounding in my chest. The stall was empty, but on the back of the door, someone had scratched a message. The words, barely visible in the dim light, sent a chill down my spine. Don't trust the living.
He backed out of the restroom, his heart racing. He decided to wait in his truck for a bit, let someone else brave the haunted restroom. He sat in his cab, engine idling, trying to shake off the feeling of unease that had settled over him. That's when he saw her. A woman, dressed in white, standing at the edge of the parking lot. She was facing away from him, her long hair obscuring her face. He watched as she slowly turned towards him, her head tilting at an unnatural angle, her face, illuminated by the flashing neon sign, was a mask of decay. Her eyes, hollow sockets.
I slammed the truck into gear and roared out of the rest stop, leaving the apparition behind. I vowed never to stop at that rest stop again.
So the next time you're driving late at night, remember these stories. Be careful out there on those open roads. The world is a strange and often frightening place, and you never know what lurks just beyond the reach of the headlights. If you're a trucker, or if you have a story of your own, share it in the comments below. Let's keep each other safe out there.